sana, 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 sana. Limpia, 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 limpia. Cura, 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 cura. Sana, 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 sana. Limpia corazón. Limpia corazón. Limpia, limpia espíritu. Limpia, limpia espíritu. Sana, 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 sana. Cura, 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 familia. Cura, 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 cura. Sana, 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 sana. Sana, 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 espíritu. Kusha, 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 kusha. Seque, 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 seque. Limpia, 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 limpia. Limpia, espíritu. Limpia mi alma. Limpia, limpia. 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 Sana, 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 sana. Sana. Sana, 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 sana. Sana, 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 sana. Limpia, 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 limpia. Limpia, 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 limpia. Kusha, 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 kusha. Us. House. Us. Cura mi alma. Sana mi alma. Limpia, limpia, cuerpecito. Limpia, limpia, cuerpecito. Body, mind, and spirit be healed. Come together in perfect oneness. Seque. Ho'oponopono. Thank you so much for being here. Take time to practice breathing. You can release your stress, your tension. If you choose, if you don't want to, you can hold your breath. Or you can feel the pressure in your belly and your body. Take a look around inside. Breathing into that area, to your toes, to your head, to your feet, to your fingertips, through your nostrils, into your throat, into your stomach, into your groin, into your behind. Notice what areas you avoid and ignore. Use your breath. Trace the attention inward. 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 You don't have to have your eyes closed to insert into a deep state of meditation. However, if you feel safe or comfortable to close your eyes, you will notice subtle changes to every experience. Standing still in the grocery store, closing our eyes. Sitting still while waiting in the nail salon with our eyes closed. And what the experience is differently when our eyes are open, taking in all the different language through the visuals of the eyes, since we were gifted with this gift to see, especially in all the frames and light and genetic codes that we are capable of receiving at this time. Perhaps you are lacking shades of color. Perhaps you are lacking focus. Attempt to close your eyes and still your mind and not strain your eyes. And try to just see and look deeply and differently without judgment or control, trying to run away. Notice if your inner narrator is talking. Paying attention to every experience. Take your time to explore your mind and witness if there is any levels of conditioning. Did that framework of thought take you to a happy place, a emotionally charged place, a place of santosha, a place of contentment, a place of stillness, or if there is a very clear activation? Again, if we aren't paying attention to our breath and we are constantly stimulated and going, there's constant noise, chaos. Sometimes there's only flow and peace within those streams. That one is surfing in those wave lines of consciousness, and we have all been to a level or shade of this consciousness shadow aspect of mind. Sometimes the shadow is what is unconscious, what is unknown, things that we don't know, we know. Things we don't know, we don't know. There's many variables of play available here. However, usually the body is an innate intelligence and it will bring up suggestions and tell you what it wants to work on right now. And this could be to get your goals together, or to act differently, or to have an ego and personality. And there's many different stories. I can't walk it for you. I can only hold your hand and sing a song to you while you wait. And if you could only find a way to enjoy the waiting music, whatever God is playing for you, whether it's ducks screeching, babies crying, there might be a time or a dimension, you could say, where you will miss these sounds and these experiences and these sensations that you are holding on to and embodying in this physical reality that you have come to know it as before you have chosen to equip yourself with other innate intelligence, understanding what we are weaponizing and what is being weaponized against us, along with what is energizing us and equipping us and leaving us overfilled with overpour to share. Again, I just want to thank you so much for being there. You just don't know how you heard me in the ways that other people didn't hear me. They didn't hear my prayer. They didn't feel me. They didn't care. There's many different narratives. Again, holding such reverence for your presence. There's a part of me that doesn't want to go into it, that doesn't want to share, that would much rather be the meditator sitting in silence with a smile on her face that leaves you wondering. At the same time, I am so overfilled and my cup filleth over that I am hungry to share the excess that one may drink and feast upon, that will quench the thirst of hunger, that hunger for that presence, that love, that understanding, that unconditional knowing that surpasses all understanding. There's no other greater thing than this. And if we say anything else, there's only lies and betrayal to ourselves and each other, really, denying that presence within all, truly. Perspective has been a very powerful topic lately. My attitude, how am I going at it? How am I looking at it? My attitude. Attitude. I always thought that was cute. I like linguistics a lot. I think there's another word for that as well. I love words. I have also fallen in love with samadhi, where I've had glimpses and moments of just sticking to this. However, the sense gratification is so addicting. This consciousness, this being, this body, the idolatry of all the things. Not being able to really just settle and be content with it, like always wanting to be an active part of it, moving or intentionally making space or waves or light, creation for the positive. Sometimes not respecting what's there and its greatness. Perhaps also I am judging myself, telling myself I am garbage, I'm worthless, I'm no good, I'm worthless. I know that there are parts in all of us that can really feel like that's true, but there's also this other part inside of us that just knows that we're lying. I am worthful. Again, the play energy and how everyone's going to have their own path and experience, and I'm not able to be anything more than I am here now, unless there are choices and contracts or agreements, trades, companionships, teamwork, teamwork, teamwork. Makes the dream work, right? I'd love to play more with consciousness. However, again, many of these things can only be done during individual practices. I can hold a container or a space, but again, the different frequencies that come here also changes all of the data, all of the input and the output. There's so many different variables. And in some levels, things are already predetermined in the mathematic equation of quantum physics. And some of those variables are interchangeable. And again, these are meaningless, complex thoughts that sometimes feel like they initially serve no purpose. However, at the same time, I find it extremely valuable and nurturing to notice all these subtle things. The fractals, the equations, the simplicity, yet the complete brilliance and the chaos and the interesting ways of nature. And again, how humans have modified reality and what they are currently doing to modify timelines, and how timelines have already been modified using certain technologies and introducing a new desire, giving you this desire instead of the other desire that would have been there naturally without this creation, without this distraction, without this intelligence that is being used as a dangerous army really against you, stopping you from being yourself because you're just so distracted with these games. It's games within your own mind and your own body. And when you believe these things, that I am no good, I can't, I won't, we stay in the same existence. These belief systems about money, these belief systems about our pain, these belief systems about our families and our futures, I find it to be all witchcraft. And I will enjoy for everyone to no longer be cursed under this broken language and this broken behavior of self-attack and self-torture that is so clearly done within our little communities. Look at families, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers, and all the energies that are expressed in the separation. Remember the power of the family, the power of the blood. Imagine if just everyone was working together on the same project. Imagine you wanted to build something for someone. They really needed a shelter, and you could come together with people and build something. And that everyone had what you needed already. You just needed to combine each other. And then through doing so, manifested all these things that would not be possible without these two coming together, who also knew these two, and these two had also had the same dream of adding a contribution to the planet before removing themselves completely. And it doesn't have to be a gigantic, overwhelming, unimaginable thing. It can be like a tiny thing, like you call your mom, who maybe is like an addict or something like that, and you just say, hey, I love and care about you still. You know, maybe don't say the still part. You know, maybe find your own words, but just communicate and be God's presence to them and show them how they are forgiven and there's still love and a home and respect and a willingness to like cleanse their body and to bury them and to financially provide for them. There's a level of deep trust and understanding that is to be healed and recognized, and many of us have not identified or been in a process of actually sitting with these things, therefore having no knowledge or wisdom on how to be a great partner, how to be a team. And all these structures in society are being completely wreaked with havoc, and the structures are being shattered, so there's no more coming together in art class, finger painting together, or playing kickball outside together, or there's all these conditions and limitations and covering up, you could say, of our true identity, our true nature that is there with our eyes closed. Think about it. If you sit still with your eyes closed for just a few minutes and you're like really telling yourself no to everything, and you're allowed to do whatever you want after you get up after your meditation of denying all the things that came up, and then from a conscious place choosing 15 minutes later, whatever, what you really wanted to do. And maybe there's temptations of eating things that do not give you a longer lifespan. Or maybe you have this thing you always wanted to do, and if you knew it was your last 15 minutes on this planet, you would go do this. And maybe it's something like painting or freestyling rap. Give yourself permission to have those 15 minutes. How different will your life be if you give yourself permission to awaken from this dream of telling yourself that I can't, I won't. For me, I call this brainwashing, where we have grown to believe these stories that are images and ideals that other people vision for us, that they see us being cheaters, liars, creeps, freaks, you know, clowns. Let us be true to ourselves and give ourselves permission to really shine in our authenticity without shame or disgrace. And if it is not our true nature and does not feel good with satisfaction to keep fulfilling these behaviors and thinkings or performances, then may we choose to find things that do, you know, fulfill in this time. And I'd also like to point out, noticing again conditions, like, are you saying I can't make art unless I'm paid for this piece? Or I can't journal because someone's going to see this, you know? Really step into your power and honor your light. Like, you are breathing in and out photons, light right now. Allow yourself to expand. Again, the breath work, there's so much there in just that, and getting in touch with your roots and your family tree and all the things that you're ignoring or you may think are meaningless. And at the same time, the renunciation is there. The importance of the renunciation, and just closing your eyes and really learning to be happy to be with you and not be in circumstance. I almost want to say three-dimensional space. At the same time, many of us have an awareness of these old stories that have been told by the ancestors for time and time again. Things we have inherited from them, prophecies that are to be fulfilled. Each one unique in nature, and then all of us are playing our role in that, yes? Like, again, looking the other way. However, again, the compassion for those who are asleep and who have chosen consciously to dissociate and to not be plagued with these things that many of us have endured upon the red road. There's a fine line here. I can't help but feel that it all comes back around like some kind of infinity symbol. It's always been fun to imagine. I will always encourage, as medicine, that imagination is the best medicine. Imagine. Imagine you take an imaginary spoon of medicine and instantly all the pain leaves your body. Or maybe you're not constantly thinking of the same thing you wish you could stop thinking about. Or maybe you take a spoonful and suddenly you don't feel like you're a slave anymore, and that you have freedom to make your own decisions and to be your own person without any rules, including from yourself, that tells you that you're not allowed and you can't and you're forbidden and naughty and bad little boy or a bad little girl. There's a big chance to grow here if you can trust yourself and trust your body. And you can always come back to me at another time, like if you feel like this is resonating, but you're not really able to sit with yourself in this way and to really confront some of these things that, you know, you might want to act like aren't there, or like you think that it wasn't a big deal, or it's really hard to kind of narrate on these things, you know, and each person is going to have their own verbal language for their own experience. So I'm not one to paint and tell you what your life is and who you are and what you're going through and whatnot. Again, I am just here with you, breathing, processing, digesting. There's so much fear that's kind of stopping us from like being able to hug one another without like a handshake first. And I imagine that there's some of you that are like clamming up right now. It's like, hey, don't touch me, don't hug me, I don't know you. Imagine if you felt safe. And it's just like, oh, this is nice. This feels good. There's no rules. There's no rules. I'm not gonna get beat by somebody because I get a hug from somebody else. You know? Being given permission to really find what lights your heart up. And man, I gotta call out the shadows of the mind, the shadows of consciousness again. Sometimes, how many times have we thought that things are one way, but really they're not that way? We just thought things were gonna be that way, and we wanted to think things were that way. And then only through intimate experiencing of this thing do we learn the hard way of like, wow, that's not what I thought it was, or I thought I wanted that, but I don't really want that, or I thought that this came with that thing that I thought I wanted, but I was tricked. I believed my own deception, or I saw what I wanted to see was there. All those different interfaces and complexes of thought and experience of the internal world. And I imagine, again, that's part of the fun in all of it, right? Is the wonderment, learning things the hard way, and lessons that are really true to our soul, or things that we had to go through multiple times, or things that we got the first time, and since we got it, like things changed then on, or maybe we did it and then we forgot, and then, you know, had a chance to pick up again after we had fallen down. Another thing at this time calling to me is a gratitude journal. Meaning, like, sometimes we may be so like inside with internal pain or anguish or suffering of any sorts of the mind, body, spirit, yes. I have noticed a value in counting even the small blessings, like like an extremely large towel, or having access to clean distilled water. Or how about just like being used to things being one way and things kind of being comfortable and in that same way for a little while. And that could be something as having a reliable product, or unshaking self-worth. There's so many different levels, and each person again is going to be able to count so many different things. But sometimes I think again we get so internal in the sadness or the anger or discomfort or the narratives, you know, the stories, or like whatever is going on, that obsession that is saying something's wrong with now, that like even in those moments there are things that like really are blessings that we may take for granted. It could be something as simple as the surface that you're sitting on. Maybe you have a bed, or maybe you have a chair, and maybe you can recognize how valuable it is that you actually have that chair or you have that bed. Even if you maybe still would like to have an upgrade or something like that, maybe not taking for granted what you have and recognizing the power of the pleasure that comes. You know, if you can give yourself permission to rest in this bed, or to sometimes it could be the other way, that you know you're supposed to let it go, like let this go and get something else and just switch things up. And again, the energy is give yourself permission, allow yourself to make this investment with yourself. You know, I mean, you sleep in a bed 8 hours a day, right? If we're lucky, right? If we're lucky, then should this not be like one of the most comforting things, like the most expensive things of your things, since so much of your life is spent in this place, and it's so important for you to get rest, so important for you to heal and recover and to experience a safe and clean environment. How about being thankful that you have running water, warm water? How about the heat in your house? Or maybe you have air conditioning. I mean, there's so many different things. And even then there might be, you know, people who can't count any of these things as their things. All they can say is I'm breathing. I am breathing. I have all my limbs. I have appreciative states of mind for everything that is in front of me. And I can see the value of all things. I will enjoy to come back at another time when I can play for you the singing bowls. I am wishing you very, very well. I'm very thankful to those of you who have sent donations and contributions and paid for my time and my services and gave so much attention and precise measurement, and I am very fortunate. No words could really make up for it, and there's much more that is to be shared and for me to be transparent with, and when it is appropriate or it resonates, it will step through. And again, I just want to say, oh, thank you. It can be hard to have the courage just to say thank you at times, because just the humbleness that is created within another human being that comes with so many stages of humility and being able to grow and have this development as a character. And I would love to hear stories of other individuals in their past and how they found their careers and how they found their way of life, how they found things out and what kept them fueled and driven, and like so many different things, how they ate. I'm fascinated by how each and every person eats differently and how they put food together differently and how they view things differently. Basically, if we were to put a camera inside everyone's hands, that multiple people would get, you know, unique different viewpoints and shots and would choose to focus on very different things. If I had a big group of 10 people, I would ask every single person to take a picture of something. And I am willing to bet that if you leave the person alone in the room and, you know, you don't let anybody see the other person and things like that, right? Like, don't give away any hints. Like, I like to imagine that every single person would pick something different to take pictures of. But you would have to, like, do it like a real, some type of scientific experiment, right? Like, there's a closed room, person goes in, they take their camera, they take a picture, they don't show anyone what they took a picture of, and then you let them come out and then send another person in. And keep doing that for about 10 people and just seeing what they take a picture of what's inside the room. I'm hearing categories, right? Like, you'll have the kinds of people that are going to be taking selfies, and you'll have like the people that are going to be taking pictures of other things, and maybe people that focus on furniture, maybe people who take pictures of pictures. I imagine there's many different psychology games and things like that that could be explored through this kind of experiment. All right, My curiosity is getting the best of me. I will return to you another time, perhaps shortly another time today. Aho, many blessings. Shanti.